The main problem with overconfidence is that we assume that it's a good thing, whether explicitly or implicitly. It is usually glorified throughout the Western world. I mean, right now we have Donald Trump very close to winning the nomination and maybe even the presidential election for the most powerful country in the world, despite the fact that there's very little signs that he has any talent for the job. But because he seems hubristic and have a lot of self-belief and comes across as somebody who has no insecurities at all, he is celebrated and glorified. And a similar picture emerges in much of the executive world. If you look at the personality of successful leaders, CEOs, senior leaders, they are like minor versions of Donald Trump. One of the problems is that people need to be paying attention to the right qualities. And to begin with, confidence is not something that we should focus too much attention on. It's usually just a proxy or seen as a proxy of competence, but in that case, we might as well get better at evaluating actual competence. So the only reason why confidence might be important is as a signal or symptom of self-awareness. So, it is not when it's unnaturally or disproportionately high or low that it's relevant. It is positive and advantageous when it is linked to ability. So if it is a diagnostic measure of how good you actually are, and which is a very, very long-winded way of saying that what we should look for in leaders and employees is people who are self-aware, who are capable of having some insights into their strengths and their limitations. And when you have that, then you don't require a surplus of confidence to seem charismatic or charming, because you're going to be aware of your limitations. And being aware of your limitations is, I think, going to become a very sought-after skill in the future, because fewer and fewer people, particularly young generations, seem capable of this. It's very good to be in a position of influence over young, bright minds, and also, in a way, a nexus between knowledge and the real world, right? So I think being in this situation provides a lot of opportunities to IMI, but at the same time, I think there is a responsibility and a challenge, which is to drive evidence-based thought leadership in this space. And rather than just perpetuating HR fads or myths that actually have corrupted and polluted many organizations around the world, such as the idea that high self-belief is advantageous and that our leaders need to be charismatic and confident, you should just cut through the chase and actually explain the future leaders that you're forming here that there are many more advantages of being self-critical and self-aware, and that sometimes confidence is just a sign of narcissism and being deluded, and that if you keep rewarding that in industry and also in academia, you're going to end up with more incompetent people in charge. I've been working in the area of psychological assessment for over 15 years now. And Hogan Assessments have been a pioneer in this area, because when the company was set up by academic professors of personality psychology, these tools were hardly ever used in industry, okay? In many ways, we have made a great deal of progress now, because organizations are more evidence-based and they understand that there is a return on investment in using scientifically defensible tools to actually pick up relevant qualities, competencies, and that's where people use them, whether it's in industry or government sector. But I have to say, I'm still slightly pessimistic, because over and over again, we have to deal with the overrated intuition that leaders and HR practitioners have when they have to make decisions on whom to hire, promote, fire, demote. And where the classic answer when you ask a leader or an HR practitioner, how do you know whether somebody should be promoted? How do you know whether somebody is a hypo? The most common answer is, well, you just know. And the evidence suggests that you don't. There might be 1 or 2% of people who do, but for the remaining 98 or 99%, using tools that are scientifically defensible and that can help you quantify the accuracy of your prediction and also what the margin of error is, pays off. If you can, even if it's increasing the proportion of true positives by 10% or 15%, 20% in big organizations, that goes a long way. And likewise, business schools or education providers and management institutions like IMI can use these tools to select and develop future leaders. If you're training people on all the formal stuff that is required to be a good leader and an influential figure in politics or business in the future, you should also focus on developing their soft skills. You can only develop their soft skills if you help them understand what they have, what they lack, and give them feedback. So, basically our tools are used for two main purposes. One is to predict performance, and the other is to boost performance by giving people feedback on their potential and their limitations.